Welcome to Dicta, your weekly dose of law school and bar exam info. I'm Carrie Ann.
And I'm Puyan, and we're the co-founders of Vinco.
And this video is about how much weight you should give the U.S. News rankings when it comes to picking a law school. The dreaded rankings when they come out. So before we get into our opinions on the rankings and give you that piece of advice, I thought it would be helpful if you knew what went into the rankings. So these are the factors that are considered. In ranking a law school, they consider the LSAT score, so the law school entrance exam test, the acceptance rate of the law school, the employment rate at graduation and 10 months post-graduation.
Which can be skewed, but that's a different video.
We'll get into that. They do an assessment by lawyers and judges of the law school. They look at the bar pass rate for first-time takers only, and they do a peer assessment, so other law schools give their opinion on a specific law school. So those are the factors that go into that ranking. All right, so now that we know the metrics, what they're looking at, do we think that this is a good thing, a bad thing, somewhere in between thing? What do you think?
Well, I didn't see in there anywhere the quality of the faculty or the quality of the curriculum, the courses taught, what externships or internships are available for practical education or training, access to firms for, I guess graduation statistics matter, but a lot of schools are using graduation statistics that are unrelated to the JD degree.
So it's not necessarily an overall picture of the education that you'll get.
I take issue with the peer assessment, where another school or another administrator's opinion of your law school affects your school's ranking. Well,
my guess is that knowing that people tend to not undercut each other, I would think if anything, there's an overinflation of scores as a result of that. But I think that's the moral of the story. The schools are responsible for reporting a lot of these things, so I'm sure they get creative with some of the numbers that they use. Employed at graduation. Yeah. What does that mean?
McDonald's. Right. That's a job.
So they're looking for full-time employment. But I do think Puyan hit the nail on the head that this is not necessarily a full picture of what it would be at that law school, of what your education would be at that law school. I personally think that there are more negatives than positives to these, but one of the positives is that it does give you some information about the school. I think it's something to look at.
Yeah.
I know that I at least looked at them when I was applying to law school.
And employers look at them, which is why students look at them, because employers want people sometimes who went to higher ranked law schools. But what are these rankings really based on? So it's kind of an issue for me.
I definitely would say not to pick your law school solely based on the ranking at all. If you Googled us, you'd find out very quickly that we didn't pick our law school based on its ranking, and I would classify us as being relatively successful for being 3 years out of law school at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely. Other factors you may want to consider is geography. Where is your school located? Because that's likely where you're going to get your internships. That may be where you end up living for the rest of your life if that's where your career settles.
Yeah, the cost of attendance. There's a lot of factors.
Cost of attendance is huge.
That go into picking a law school, and you can actually check out the video we made on that. We did a whole video on what factors to look at in applying to law school and the actual personal considerations we gave. But I think it's safe to say that this didn't rank very high among the factors that we considered for our decision.
I didn't care about the school rankings. I gave them very little weight.
So, if you've been thinking, what's all the hubbub about rankings and how much weight should I give them, hopefully this shows you that you should really use them more as a factor than an absolute test in making your decision, and that we wish you the very best of luck in applying for law school.
Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, send an email to carrieann@vincoprep.com or join us on Facebook.